we're hitting something I never thought we would see in cinema alone. Just as a film goer, we're seeing children, young actors, insanely young, and they're not seeming to be actors on screen. This is a phenom. This is a modern occurrence. Does it date back to Sean Baker's The Florida Project, where then, when I first saw that movie, I said, we have to give this guy a Best Director nomination, because I still go by the old Academy standards when I look at the talent of a movie on screen and off. The children in that movie, spin your head. We have something similar with the 2024 Didi, where the adolescence is so real, it's a little bit scary. So let's go.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take 1.
Action!
So just stick with me, my AKA Powders, and welcome back to the show of shows. Quick plug, go to akapad.com. We're building out the site. We're adding more and more archival material. We're organizing things in better and better ways. It is your way to plug in to everything Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad. And if you're new here, guys, girls, ladies and gents, cats and dogs, hamsters and mice, we're almost 1,000 episodes in, and it doesn't feel like it feels like the work of this show is just beginning. It's just starting. If you're new, should I tell you? Should I inform you a little bit about what the mission of this show is? Well, we're in an era where you just have to hate everything. We're in an era where film criticism has died on the side of the road. In the Film Buff podcast, we're bringing back the way, I hate to say it, the old guys, the vets, the true film critics spoke about film and more or less think about movies. The age of social media has given us some good critics, but overall, the noise of these pretenders and these wannabes, some people might even call me one of those, they drown out the good. So that's what we're doing here. The idea of this episode alone, a movie you can watch right now on Hulu. I'm a film goer, so I love all the streaming services. I'm a film goer, so I love my giant 80-inch, maybe it's 85, giant TV, crazy sound, and I love that I'm able to experience a movie nearly any time in a theater-driven environment. I say what you want. I get it. Modern screens have like fantastic. The sound's incredible, but the sound's so inconsistent from theater to theater. Just on technology, you can always see the logos outside of some of these theater doors. That's what they're pushing. The consistency is not there, and there's no real tracking or standards of the sound that we get at home. Like this is a tough thing. But the point I'm getting at is that I'm able to, because of Hulu, I'm able at home, able to watch a dramatic adolescent teen drama. This is not comedy. Like it's Wikipedia has coming of age comedy drama. I'm going to pee on that classification. Sometimes when things are as real as Didi, it's not funny. I think the humorous moments that they go for in this are, again, and when I say disturbing, maybe I'm fishing for another word. This is when we know we have something magnificent here, AK Powders, when even your film buff is struggling for words. It's depressing of how real some of these moments and some of these reactions are. There is a scene where this kid explodes on his sister. Just explodes on her. And she doesn't know where it's coming from. Isn't it? I love that. I love that there's like this separation. They're a couple years apart, but they're worlds apart. Because she's driving. She doesn't know his friends. She doesn't know some of these people he's getting involved with. It's so good. But he explodes on her, and you know where he's coming from, and you know where she's coming from. She's coming from let's quote some Phil Collins in Genesis, the land of confusion. But what happens later? Again, right? It's like truth and consequence here. She starts giving him rides. She helps him get around. And up until this point, he was even taking like buses on dates or away from dates. He was getting around summer because like where this movie exists between summer, like, you know, school years, which is like really the membrane of the adolescent life when it comes to growing up in America. And before we wrap this movie up, and I don't care about spoilers, I'm just trying to tell you enough that you run out and watch this movie that in my view clearly should have an Oscar run, clearly should have had conversations about it. Can we talk about nominating this film? I apologize. I know I kind of bark up the same tree repeatedly sometimes. But it's not, which is wild. But there's a moment at the end of this movie where he gets his like retainer or like his braces removed, and then the next school year starts, and it's as simple of a metaphor as a butterfly, excuse me, coming out of its cocoon. It's that effing simple, but it's so real. And then we have this head nod where even me, like, I just think back to some of my adolescence, and some of these friends of mine maybe needed a head nod because I'm no longer friends with them, right? Like, maybe I should have had more Didi in me when I was younger. I don't know. It's I mean, we're all adults now, so like it doesn't even matter if you run into that person. But a lot of times, like, you sit back and you question, like, what if I didn't drift away from this individual during my youth? What if we were as good as friends as we were like sophomore year versus junior year? Recently, like when a couple years ago, I mean, it feels like yesterday, but it was maybe like 3-4 years ago when my father passed. And excuse me, I have no concept of time whatsoever. I only have appreciation when people waste my time. Everything else is non-linear. That's just how the film buff views the world. You know, around the death of my father, I reached out to a high school friend and I said, I think I have to see you. Because, you know, my father would still talk and ask about you. And, you know, him and I, like, by that point, though, still, like, water under the bridge. But it was somewhat of a relief to finally say some of those things to that person. Where, like, hey, like, you know, like, I felt like I abandoned you in high school. And, like, it always bothered me. Now, when the cinematic experience breaches that, and we pull in ourselves in this movie, and then we get this, like, a little bit of this magical, nebulous thing that happens when we watch movies. And this can happen with any movie, my friends, my AKA Patters. It's when we pull in our personal experience into a film. And we're connected to it. We're forever connected to it. There's this discovery period in this movie where the kid fails to kiss a girl. And it's like, holy crap. Like, that moment, close. I love the older group that he falls in with. And he rapidly tries to learn how to shoot skateboarders. and he gets compliments and they tell him he's good. And there's this fantastic scene, and I said to myself, even now, I wish I was like this, because I'm a hoarder when it comes to my work and my ideas. I'll throw away everything else, but I want my ideas intact, which is, going back, if you guys are hearing any rumbling, it's my my terabyte drives backing each other up, because they are on this table, and there are physical drives. They're not SSDs. SSDs have no moving parts. And in case anybody wanted some Best Buy info, some Circus City info, but there's this moment where he deletes all of his files, and I said to myself, mother effer, like, this movie that's coming from the perspective of a kid is teaching a grown adult some lessons. And the lesson is this: maybe I have to delete more. It's insane, my AKA powders. This movie, in my view, is an absolute masterclass. I think this is the best teenage drama I've ever seen. We can kind of go back and forth with a couple, like 13 comes to mind. But I thought 13 was a little bit overrated. Maybe Kids and Didi are just parallel, and it's kind of funny because they both do connect to youth skate culture. Sean Wang should have had an Oscar run. Sean Wang should get his studio movie, like his studio contract, meaning one for you, one for us, one for you, one for us. I'm hoping some of this is maintained, but I also just guys, we talk history, we talk about personal experiences here on AKA Pad, the Film Buff Podcast. Let me just say this: I've seen a lot of filmmakers who this is all that they have in them. This is their story, and if that's the case, that's 100% fine. But this movie is it's a top tier movie in this category. It's a top tier movie in the 2024 drama. Now, we did mark 2024 as the return of the American drama. This movie's one of it. My AKA Powders, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you guys do for me. We're growing. We're doing everything that we can. We're obsessive film freaks here, and I think we're all better for it. Rock and roll, and let's go.
Okay, that's a wrap.